Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Making Light Two Humans Being. I'm Julie Hiert, and with me, as always, and back from vacation. Yes, I still have to say it, even though there's one episode that's just launched. Anyway, it's Kate Foggo. We're back. We're excited.
Hello.
I don't know, I said excited. We're excited. However, I will say that this episode to some degree started off with Kate asking me how things were. And I just said, you know what? I'm just exhausted of expectations. And she was like, what do you mean? And what's so interesting, I was telling her, so interesting is I've been having a lot of clients who are also facing and dealing with expectations, either the expectations that they put on themselves or the expectations that they're taking on from others, or their expectations of situations. But it's interesting that this is a theme that's going on. And what's so also, like, if you talk about signs from the universe, I was listening to, so one of my favorite new people is Kemi Nekvapil, who wrote this book, Power, A Women's Guide to Living in Power, something without apology. I'm going to bastardize the subtitle, but she's trained by Brené Brown, who, side note, has been interviewing Bono because of his new memoir, side note, which is a fabulous interview if anybody checks it out, Brené Brown and Bono. Anyway, but I was listening to Kemi's podcast just before Kate and I started today, and she too was talking about expectations. And I'm like, okay, seriously, this is a thing. But I was just telling Kate that they're exhausting. They're exhausting. So, and what kind of kicked it off too was, so my wonderful pup, Lucas, is a former Alaska sled dog. In Alaska, dogs are not kept inside of homes. They are kept outside of homes. They're in these big dog yards. They have their own little areas in which they're tied usually to their area. They are well cared for. They are respected, regardless of what many people in certain animal welfare organizations say. These dogs are well cared for. They get to be like dogs, and they get to run, which is what they're built to do. So and Lucas, actually, we just celebrated his 5-year found day with us on Saturday. So he's been with us for 5 years. So for the first 2 years of his life, though, he was running, he was doing all the things. He was being a dog. And he was also, though, very aware of his boundaries because when you're on a sled dog team, you have a role to play. So there's a whole lot of stuff in there. Anyway, when we got him, when we adopted him, of course, we had our 9 to 8. I was going to say 9 to 5. I'm like, let's just be honest. It was like 7:30 to 6 jobs. And he did not enjoy being home alone. He didn't enjoy being in a crate. He destroyed 5 of them. We would watch him on a camera have panic attacks.
How did he destroy the crate?
Oh, yeah. He busts through. He pounds on the bottom and the sides enough so that they shatter, and then he can pick them up and get them out. And he just doesn't like being left alone because he's never had to, because there's an integration as far as how dogs are handled in, that we experienced in our experience in Alaska than here. So anyway, so whenever we have to go somewhere, he can't come with us. He's always gone to daycare, and he did this in Alaska and loved it, did great. Anyway, so he's in daycare here when I have to go. And yesterday I went to go see my mom and dad, which was kind of unplanned, but I went to do it. So when I picked him up, they told me that he was, he's having little behavior issues that, when dogs were getting in his face and stuff like that, he would tell them to get away, and they just wanted me to be aware of it. It's not that he's doing anything wrong. He's not getting into big fights or anything like that. I'm sure when he tells somebody to get off, it's a little loud and noisy because that's how dogs talk. So I had Kate just kind of talk to him, and as he had told me, but it's always helpful to have another animal communicator reach out to the animal too, to kind of validate what I'm getting, because I'm so emotionally involved. But it was to some degree the same thing about Lucas understands dog manners. These other dogs and new people that are at the place don't quite get it. And so he's just protecting his boundaries. He's really, really good at boundaries. But I just, at the same time, though, knowing like going to Thanksgiving, if we were to stay here in town and go to my sister's, he's not welcome. So I have to, even though there's 2 other dogs that he loves in that house, and I'll be staying in that house over Christmas holidays because I'm going to house sit for her. And so that's fine. But if anybody else is,
So you can take Lucas when you're house sitting.
yeah. Yeah.
Why is he not welcome? I mean, I know she has issues with the fact that you won't leave them alone, blah, 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 but why is he not welcome at the house?
The only reason why, the only thing he does is he comes in. So he's part Greyhound too. So this is his Greyhound side, is that he comes into the house, says hello to everybody, goes to sleep at my feet. He's always at my feet.
So what does she say is the reason why he's not welcome?
It's a 3rd dog and she doesn't want a 3rd dog in the house. Yeah. So which leads me to this exhaustion, because it's an ongoing conversation. It's an ongoing one-sided at me conversation. And it's just me going, I just don't understand. Every time I tell people what I know of it, I get the same reaction that you just had. So it's just this, it's just, and I just get so tired of how things are different here from an integration of dog perspective than what we experienced in Alaska, where we would take him for these long walks off leash. He'd be off leash and he would have so much fun. And here every park is leash and cops are around, and there's not a safe place to do it because there's just so many more people here and so many more cars. So that's just kind of exhausting. So there's that expectations. And then then the other aspect of expectations is just expectations this is for me, expectations around what people want out of their life or career. And then when I try to provide any type of support or supportive words or whatever, I don't want to hear that, Julie. I don't want to hear your woo woo. And so it's just like, okay, so I don't know. There's like a whole lot of exhaustion around this going on right now, which is so interesting because it's a new moon. So it's supposed to be a rejuvenating aspect of time right now. And it's in Sagittarius. Are you Sagittarius, Kate? Yeah.
Of course I am, Julie, we're the best.
I know. That's what I'm understanding right now. Wait, when your birthday must be coming up?
I don't know. I have to look at my calendar. It's the 27th. What day is that?
Of December?
September. No, November.
Oh, really? You're next Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, well, happy birthday, Kate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a super invigorating, exciting time right now, like creativity wise, which I actually do really feel. But I just have just a little bit of a expectation wise. And it's why we can't just.
You know, what did I read? Because I went away with a Kindle with, I don't know, 500 books packed on it or whatever. Read loads, but most of them were sort of detective. But anyway, and I found a spiritual book, because I quite often buy them, get them on a Kindle or whatever, and then don't read them or whatever. And I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And it was just a sort of supposed to be a really simple overview, extracting from Eckhart Tolle and some of the other and the other really big names, all about, I can't remember whose introduction it was, all about expectations. When you think about it, that nothing that happens in this world is inherently wrong. It's just not what you expected.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it wrong. I mean, when you put it like that, it's like everything that when anyone, disappointment, sadness, or maybe not sadness, but disappointment, all these feelings, jealousy, hurt, all those feelings, abandonment, everything is all about what actually happened was not what you were expecting to happen, because you had a perspective on how it should be. And you're like, oh my God, that's mind-blowing. And then you go, yeah, okay, now I've got over the, okay, so we can sum it all up, but they're still very real. Just because you can see it's happening doesn't make it any easier. In some things it's easier to process because you can see, right, I'm feeling this way because something inside me was expecting or hoping it to be different. But even in the knowledge of that, there's so much to manage there. Everything. Yeah, to go, yeah. Even if you take yourself, other people out the equation, it's what we expect for ourselves. And we were having that conversation there that I don't know what this will look like, but I feel like I have to back away from everything, because the one thing that I am still holding to is me holding myself to an expectation of how my business should be performing based on how you perform, on what I should be doing in social media based on the expectation of what you do or what Danielle does or what people who say you need to do all these things. And it's actually doesn't sit right with me at all. It's not what I want. Expectation over how much money I should be charging from what other people are telling me, and I feel like it's just not right. I don't want to charge that much. It doesn't feel right. All these things are because I am holding myself to a level due to how I perceive other people doing things, and therefore that's an expectation, maybe of a different word, but it's still an expectation of this is how it should be, and this is how you should be performing, and this is what you should be doing, and if you're not, you're falling short. And that's the thing that gets me, is this not good enough that I have been battling forever, as we both know.
Yeah.
There's still a big part of that in there, and it's almost like I feel like I want to back away from it all and find my own way and stop holding myself accountable to how other people are performing, which is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, I really want you to be successful, Julie, but it hurts me when you do better than me. And I don't like that about myself. But it's the same as anything. And I see somebody else doing something, then there's this expectation of, well, if they can do it, why aren't I doing it? What's wrong with me? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing enough. I'm not good enough. Otherwise, I would be like them. And it's nonsense.
Competitive person? Are you competitive?
Not knowingly. I used to, if I don't feel I'm in with a chance, though, I just back away. Like, so maybe I am, and maybe, you've maybe found a hidden part, they call it, where I don't even go there because if I can't win, I don't want to be part of it.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if that's, that might be something we explore too, being competitive, because it is. I
want to say it's my mom's fault, but I do think there's an element of that with my, she was always parading things in front of me that I should be doing or wasn't, I'm going to defend her. I think she did it from the perspective of, oh, look, if you did it, to encourage me, because she's that sort of go-getter personality, and I'm not, or maybe I am and I've hidden it. So it was, I think, done to sort of encourage me, but all it does is make you go, I can actually, slight deviation, but yesterday, this was part of it, I was listening, these words just kept coming in my head, and I looked up the lyrics to Hoobastank. Do you know Hoobastank?
Oh yeah.
Not good enough. And it's all about, and I've stopped and looked, but it's basically, it doesn't matter how, because talking about it to his girlfriend, but it doesn't matter what I do for you, but it's never enough, so I'm just going to walk away from you now. And it made me cry, and I was like, oh my God, this is me talking to me. It's that I can never be good enough, ever. So it's, I'm going to have to look up the words, but let me find them, because actually it's beautiful. You keep talking while I look it up.
So that's so fascinating that, see, now my energy's coming back, because this from these exhaustions of all these expectations, because you said several things about the expectations I'm putting on myself. Like, that's what's exhausting me, because it's like, really, we can't just let Lucas just can't just be like, we just can't be with our dog the way we want to be and he wants to be. Like, let's just be. What's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. Besides, everybody, dog spelled backwards is God. Let's just say that right there. I'm just going to say that. People roll their eyes at me, but I'm just going to say it. The other thing that's interesting to me, that you bring up a song, and I did that little deviation with Bono, because Bono is like my favorite rock star. U2's my favorite band.
I would not have known that, Julie, had you not pointed that out.
Oh yeah. Well, I had a dog named Bono. That guy. The German Shepherd mix. That's Bono.
I was being sarcastic. That's how seriously you take this.
Oh, I love, So, I mean, I've known that Bono's memoir is coming out on whatever date it was. I knew it was coming out, and I didn't pre-order my copy, which I usually do, because I was like, I'm going to let it find me, and it's found me. And then, however, there are times when I used to listen to music nonstop all day long. And as we've settled into here, I actually let things be quiet so I can hear the birds and whatnot throughout the day. But yesterday was so interesting. Usually when I'm driving, I'll listen to podcasts, one of which was Brené Brown interviewing Bono. But yesterday I get in the car and my car will turn my phone on and Bluetooth and it'll play whatever. And it started playing U2. And I'm like, okay, that's a sign. I just need to listen to U2, whose lyrics can be super spiritual. And the more you and I have gone through this process and grown and all this stuff, their lyrics are even more poignant now to me than even that they were then. Although I will also say, side note again, Brené asks text, because she's also a huge U2 fan. So she makes a comment to Bono that the songs have always engaged her and also pissed her off, which now when I'm listening to them, like, yeah, they pit like Sunday Bloody Sunday pisses me off, as it should. That's what it's supposed to, doesn't matter. Anyway, I digress. There was a song that came on. There's two. There's one that was called Love is Bigger. Love, I don't know what the title is, but the line is love is bigger than anything in its way. And I'm like, yes. And then the other thing was, there's another song that's called Get Out of Your Own Way. And what he is talking to his kids. And I think all the band members, I don't think Adam, maybe Adam has kids now, but anyway, I think the other two, I know the other two have kids, but they're talking to children saying, this is your fight and I can't do anything to help you in your fight as much as I want to, but you just need to know, get out of your own way and let stuff take shape, let stuff happen to a degree, like, and know that that things are unfurling for a reason, but get out of your own way because you're keeping yourself stuck in here is really what they're also saying. But I'm listening to it yesterday. And so when you said that thing, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the songs I was listening to. Yeah. So you found the lyrics.
I did. I hope it won't make me cry, which it might. So bearing in mind, this is a man singing to a woman about a lover, but I mean, it hit me because as I listened to this Peter Crone thing, I told him my sister started talking about Peter Crone. I'm not going to put him in the show notes. You can look him up if you like, but he works with premium athletes and stuff like that. So it was all very good, and it's nice again to hear a British song, you know, because so much of the stuff's American, no offense, but it's actually quite nice to get some homegrown stuff. But he did come across as a bit smug, like there's just something about him. I mean, enormously accomplished and working with people at that level, which he said he enjoys doing because when you get results, they're huge, you know, you can really see. So he finds it really rewarding. And I get that. But there was just a bit that it was a lady that was interviewing him as well. Anyway, but I was thinking about the surrender thing of it. It sort of came on the heels of Kate, stop looking to other people for the answers, you know, because I listen to people like that and part of it's really good. And I think there's nothing here I don't know, actually. You maybe say it slightly differently, but there really isn't anything I don't know. Well, so anyway, and then did this song come on? No, it was just in my head. It was going, all I knew was that I was just going, I can't give any more, so now I'm giving up. And I was thinking, that's what I need to do. I can't, it's like I feel I've had this battle with myself forever. And at first it was with life in general, and it's morphed and it's morphed. And it was with my work and with my mother and with that. And actually, since I started this, it's been with myself, about trying to get myself into shape to be a certain type of person, to be that happy person, to be that spiritual person, to be able to overcome all these obstacles that I understand and I can see it and I study and I learn and I suffer and all of this, and it's like, but it's not happening, and there's still this, but you know, I'm still pushing. I am still pushing to be, instead of going, I am this person, and maybe some bits of me just still need to heal. So that's the mood I was in. And then it was this, I just kept hearing, so now I can't give any more, now I'm giving up because nothing's ever good enough. And I thought, that's just it. It's like, because I had a conversation again, I don't even know if this was before or after, it must have been before, the night before. I went to see friends, like in flesh. And you know, my best friends that I haven't seen for months, really. And I just started crying again. You're like, what the fuck's wrong with me? And I was just like, I'm just not happy. Like, I'm not unhappy, but I'm not happy. And you know, I've given up my job, I've moved homes, I've built guest house, and I'm doing everything I know how to do, and I'm not getting the results I want. And like my friend Cara looked at me and she goes, and the other really nice thing, my friend Susie, this is what I love about women, just comes over and gives me a really big hug. And I think, oh my God, I don't think I've had a hug for like, I feel like I never knew Julia. We've never even shook hands. You don't meet people anymore.
Yeah.
But like Cara said, but you never stop doing and I just thought I have just replaced my corporate job with moving house. Well, first of all, with making a house up to scratch to sell it. Then it was moving house and making that house. Then we moved house again. We had rent, and it was all about suffering. And before that was getting my mum into a home, and before that was, it's like I've just replaced this fascist workplace with another one, and I'm still doing it with the shed. I'm still going, and I'm getting all these accolades and quality assurance and all of that, because that's me going, oh my God, the business is dropping off. I need to work harder. I need to work harder. I need to be doing something. If I'm not top of my game, then I'm not working hard enough. As social media, all the interviews, which I enjoy doing some of that stuff, and we've talked about that, and I enjoy the creative side of it, but there's a whole bit of it I enjoy it less, or I can't allow myself to enjoy it because it's work. Because if I don't do it, I'm not trying hard enough. And Julie says I should be doing it, and Danielle says I should be doing it. And if I'm not doing it, it's my fault that my business isn't taking, all of that. And it's just like, nothing is good enough for Kate. So actually, that Kate I'm going to put in a bin, and this Kate is going to watch RuPaul all day. Enough said.
I love it. I love it. I know we've talked about the movement from corporate day job to this. And I know both of us at the time were saying, yes, we understood that we needed to allow ourselves to disconnect. As I look back, and I know we've touched on this throughout this, however many years now we've been doing Making Light, 2 or 3, right?
Really?
Well,
oh my God, get us.
At least, right? Because we're in 2022. I'm at least 2 years, We'll have to go back and look, but we should figure that out and then celebrate that. God damn it. Anyway, but but I know that we've talked about it, that you need to allow this space to like detox and let go of the routines and let go of the expectations and let new things come up, let new things sprout. And if we were to look back, I know that for me, I didn't really let that happen. I thought I did, but when I look, I'm like, I really didn't.
What you did was give up your job. That's all that happened. Nothing else changed. You still filled your time with other stuff that had to be done.
Yes, and I filled my time with things that didn't always, a lot of it, that didn't make me happy. And you and I were talking before we hit record that it wasn't really until June. So my featured practitioner month was June. You had October. And it wasn't until either late in that month or sometime in July, this little switch turned on, because my guides were just like, ding, 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 hello. Doing the intuitive work, this is your job now. And I wasn't even treating this as the job, because I was so worried about gotta make sure the house is clean, gotta make sure I've got the food figured out, because I gotta prove my worth in other ways, because I don't have the other higher paying job. And those were the expectations that people have on me.
Well, no, that you had on you.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. Yeah, that I also had on myself, because that's how I worked around the negative belief of not worthy, among other negative beliefs, but that was a big one. And so I just filled the plate with gotta be busy, gotta be busy, gotta be busy. But it was mindlessness, busyness, which doesn't fulfill who we are. And we don't allow ourselves enough time to detox. And I believe, there are still days where it's like, you know what, I also, to some degree, I'm starting to trust my scheduling guides, who I actually formally haven't met yet, now that I think about it, who know like when my energy is lower, and I actually will have a free day. And then Lucas will make sure that we're going outside and we're doing things outside. But to have that and trust that everything else is going to work out, that's big leaping. And I'm not saying that I'm there. I think that's a longer term thing, but at least the understanding that disconnection from work or releasing of work didn't really leave me until recently. And there's still tendrils of it in there. I can feel them.
And
But
I think I'm gonna have to work really, really hard at that, because I think what happens is I feel either this is me justifying myself, or this is my greater intelligence saying that I have to get through the dead space before I can start being creative, if you know what I mean. And that dead space for me is where I then feel really guilty and really bad because I'm not doing anything. And that's what I do now. It's like I don't know, did we talk about this already? You know, it's like I can switch off, but I can only switch off. I did a course actually with Anne-Marie and Stephanie about self-care, and it was the difference between the switching off and actually doing something nourishing. I'm not able to do the nourishing yet. It's like I have to go through, you know, so I do feel guilt. I don't feel guilty. I'd feel guilty if I do it for extended period of times, but I see the time on the couch with RuPaul as lazy time, as in bad lazy time, even though I'm trying to tell myself it's good for me. The rest of me is going, this is lazy time because it's not nourishing. But actually I would argue that it is nourishing, but it's like I feel like I have to get through that that phase before I can do nourishing stuff, because my nervous system is still in hyper anxiety, hypervigilance, this is better, it's a lot better. But all the ups and downs I'm experiencing, in my view, this is what I was saying to my friends, is like I am now fitting the profile of someone who I would have described as unstable in the past, because I am unstable. Not I can function, of course I can, but it doesn't, you know, all it takes is for me to sit down and think about the bigger picture of life, and I'm in tears and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing myself. I don't know where this is going. I don't feel safe. I don't feel protected. And now I don't feel I can go back to that other world, and this world's not working out for me. I'm stuck. It's like I know my destiny is over here in this new beautiful woo-woo world, and I know that I believe it can work. It's just I can't get there yet because I'm not good enough. I'm not doing the right things. I'm not trying hard. So all that mindset is still here, but I can't go back to the tyranny of a corporate job either, because I would frankly rather I'd throw myself, well, I'm not going to be dramatic, but you know, I would rather live in some fucking pissy house somewhere in Shite Hill than, you know, I would happily live with poverty than go back to a corporate job, she says in her cushy little house with no heating. I might add, I haven't put the heating on. I'm actually saying to Gary, we need to put the fucking heating on. We've got to stop this so I haven't taken this off. I have to stop this poverty mindset because we're both cold. Like, really, look at my nose.
Yeah,
it's cold.
I was listening to the news the other day, which I don't typically do anymore. I was listening and I heard about if we thought energy prices here in the United States were bad, go to Europe. And technically you're not part of Europe anymore, but go to Europe. But
they've gone up 4 times. They're 4 times more than they were.
Yeah.
And they're going up again.
Yeah, and they were talking about exactly that. And
but I don't know how it can be a lie. I mean, even our petrol it's gone down 20p, but it's still 50% higher than it was 6 months ago and hasn't gone down, and there's no sign of it going down, and there's no talk of it going down. You know, it's just all your big, anyway, let's not go into that. But but I'm sort of like, we actually have to stop with the poverty mindset and just, do you know what? I can't, what is it? I can't give any more. So now I'm giving up.
Yeah.
Because nothing's ever good enough. So fuck it. I'll just blow all my savings on oil and heating and chicken hormones and be happy and live in some shithole in Kelty if I have to.
Yeah.
Kelty is a shithole.
I know we've actually done the math to be about, because coming back to expectations, like the expectations that we have a house. There are people that have expectations that the house that we live in is too small. Like we have 1 bathroom. We have 1 toilet in this house.
But what more do you need for 2 people?
We have 1 car.
I've never, ever until we moved here been anywhere that didn't have 1 bathroom.
I know, but
sorry, in our last one there was like an outdoor loo that was sort of then attached to the house and became part of the conservatory. But I would say 90% of 2-bedroom houses in Britain have 1 toilet, and that's it.
Yeah,
you might have a separate toilet to the bathroom.
Yeah, it blows many people in my world, in my orbit, mind, that we have one toilet, that we have one car. So I don't, that was my little reminder to take the man for a walk, the pupper down here. That we have one toilet, we have one car, that we don't need another car, because it's the second car is just going to sit here because I work here at home pretty much every day. And when I need the car, I just take them to work. It's not a big deal. The thing that the scaling back, but we could, and we're going to this winter, between now and Christmas, we're going to scale back even more. I want to go through this house and let's get rid of stuff that's just accumulated again.
Yeah, me too. I want to skip.
Yeah. So, and you know what? Do you know what out of the impetus is too? Is that I went down in the basement several weeks ago, and I found little mice droppings on a clean towel that I had sat on the couch down there that needs to go. I just have all these towels. I accumulate towels somehow, and I was going to put it in the RV, which I don't actually need them in the RV because I've got towels in the RV. So I looked at this and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. The fact that we've got a little mouse somewhere. So then I did a deep clean of the basement, and I think I know where they came in. And I also realized I had left some food down there. Not a good idea. So, but I've told people about my little mouse situation, and they're like, oh, you use this poison, you get these traps that kill them, you do all these things. And I'm like, no. And then they look at me like I'm crazy. Well, and I'm like, look, I don't think it's a whole slew of mice, and it doesn't matter if it is. I have found mice droppings in 3 locations, and they were like 5 little droppings. So I don't feel like I'm infestated with mice. I haven't seen them on this main floor here. We only have 1 floor, and then there's the basement. I realize what I did. I think I know where they're coming. So if I have one in the house, I can get these little humane traps, and then I can set him free.
Can I caution you? And this is really odd because this is the fourth mouth conversation I've had in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But can I caution you with the live traps that you check them regularly?
Okay.
And don't forget, because I starved a mouse to death in a live trap, and that took a lot of getting over because I had done it for all the right reasons.
Oh, absolutely.
And then forgot about it and killed it, and I just felt awful.
No, I'll be checking it multiple times a day. Well, I got one yesterday. I bought one, but I'm not installing it until we're back from Thanksgiving.
But also, Julie, if you haven't got food, right?
Yeah.
Does it matter?
I don't even feel like they're here anymore.
Yeah, just tell them to leave, or say, look, if you don't leave, I'm going to get traps.
So interesting. I did ask them the other day. I did connect with them and ask. So it was so fascinating because it wasn't so much about me forcing my will on them and I need you to leave my house. They were also saying, and I've been reading a lot of books about integration of humans in the natural world because we've become so disconnected from it. And they were like, we're going to work with you further on this integration, but don't worry, we're not invading your house. We're not doing anything. And I think because I put the oats that they got into, I put them outside. And so they were happy about that. But no, I don't. Yeah, there's
no food. They won't stay, I wouldn't have thought.
I'm not worried. I'm not like freaked out about it. I love my spiders that are downstairs, which, and in the last house, I was totally overcome by spiders. I've got littler guys. So I gave them a week's warning that I was going to do this deep clean. Like, hey, I'm doing this deep clean. Y'all go higher up so I can get all the debris that y'all gather underneath. I'm just clean up your debris, and I will try really hard not to suck you up. And I was pretty successful. I got the debris. I might have gotten 1 or 2 little guys. Didn't mean to, but sometimes
I do that every time I sweep the thing. I'm just like, and I keep forgetting. What I do is I actually sort of try and do like a woof, like an energy thing, like woof, on the porch, and I go, right, I'm coming, get out the way, because genuinely I don't have time. It's like, oh fuck, I've got to, I don't.
Yeah.
But I'm really careful with them.
Yeah. The mice thing too, I think I know where they came in, and we just had a big, huge snowstorm and the snow's melting. So when we're back from where we're going for Thanksgiving,
they'll always find a way in, Julie. I don't think it's.
Yeah, but I do think there's a little hole because there's some wood shavings and whatnot that are somewhere that they shouldn't be. So Brad's just going to double check, and if he has to seal a hole, then he has to seal a hole. But we'll find. If any mice decide to enter the trap, they will be checked frequently and they shall be set free to go forth and prosper. But does it anyway? My point was that I was telling people about this and they were like, no, I'll do all these things. And I'm like, why would I go to, I said to my dad yesterday, I'm like, why am I going to DEF CON 5? It's one mouse. Like, and he's just trying to find, I do feel, I don't know why I keep saying he, but I do feel like it's a masculine thing. Anyway, he's just trying to make his way. No big thing.
I don't understand why. I mean, I admit you don't want them crawling in your food cupboards, but other than that,
I don't want him in
so
my bed.
I had the lovely lady I met in Egypt. I told you about Sammy, the dive instructor. So I tell you, because she had a mouse in her room, so, and then and then my friend whose name I can't remember, Kathy, so who I do healing with every week. She had sent me a text. I didn't have any internet, and then I got this text going, there's a mouse, and she wouldn't even come out of the house. I told you, I remember, because we talked about the garage. And now that this is you as well. And I had a long conversation with Kathy with the mouse, and she had caught it in a live trap. And I was like, did you check it? She's like, she'd forgotten about it for a couple of days. Oh, a couple of days, you can't. Oh, yeah. Expectations are that you don't have mice in your house because they're bad.
I know, which is so, I mean, but okay, so like I'm watching this show called Shantaram, which is on, I think that's,
That's one of my favorite books.
They've made a show of it on
Apple. No, I knew I'd seen it. I might have to go back. We had Apple TV for a bit, but again, it's like $9.99 a month, and I never, other than Ted Lasso and that other one, we didn't really watch, and because we don't look.
Yeah, well, wait till yeah, or wait till you've got like Ted Lasso and Morning Show and whatnot back, and then watch, because it's Shantaram's not going anywhere; it'll be there. But Bad Sisters on Apple TV Plus. You have to watch Bad Sisters too, which stars Bono's daughter Eve. And she's fabulous. Anyway,
so hang on, Shantaram.
Yes.
The only problem is it true to the book?
I don't know. I didn't read the book. I had the book for a long, long time, and it left my possession when we moved, when I was culling, because I could accumulate books. So I set it free. So I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what you have to say, how close it is.
Because there was a bit in Shantaram that I was all part of my awakening, I think, and it was when he loses all his money. I don't know how far you've got when he goes to Bombay and he's lost all his money and he's living in the slums. And I was like, I could do that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
That's because he lives in the slums, like where we are right now in the show. We're pretty far in. I think I don't remember, like episode 8 and there's 12, or episode 9 and there's 12. I don't know. We're at the point where we're caught up and we have to wait for them to be released. Anyway, which drives me crazy, by the way. I don't know why they have to control when I get my episodes. Just release all the goddamn things. That's how we do it now, people. But maybe that's a gratification thing, which might be another topic for another day. Anyway.
Which is, but the thing is, things are so complicated now. Gary and I are watching this thing called Peripheral. It's so fucking complicated. If I had to wait a week, I wouldn't be able to follow it the next week.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So he lives in the slums. They sleep on the ground, on mats, right? Like carpets or mats. And there's, the little rivers of water and whatever running through. And they're all right there. They just had a big cholera outbreak. Is that in the book? Yeah. So I'm like, but he sleeps really well. And then I just finished this book. I'm going to do a video on it because it's amazing. It's called The 7 Circles. Indigenous Teachings for Living Well. I heard this on Elise Lunan, my new favorite podcast. Anyways, but they also talk about sleep. There's one of the 7 circles is sleep itself. And Mother Earth is like, no wonder I feel so disconnected from you. None of you sleep on me anymore. You sleep on top of things, on top of me, type of thing. So the energetic rejuvenation that we get. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is fat. Not that I want to immediately start sleeping on the ground.
Yeah, no, but that's why they talk about you can get magnetic mats and stuff like that are supposed to.
You're the 3rd person to talk about that in that many weeks. Monica, our good friend Monica, Brad's boss, talks about it. And then,
because it's one of the things that we do in the body code is check if your magnetic field if it's balanced, and if it's not, that is one of the things that you can do.
Yeah.
But it's just standing outside of barefoot is a good thing to do.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. But Shantaram, I'm like, look at how little
happy he is.
It's the same as City of Joy.
Happier than he's ever been.
Yeah. Did you ever see the movie City of Joy with Patrick Swayze? Same thing. He goes to India. He's like this doctor. He goes to India. He's all like broken and whatnot. And he goes to India and then he gets pulled into the slums. It's not Bangladesh. It's up in the north. If you're looking at India, it's in the north right.
Mumbai.
Nope.
Yeah.
Calcutta.
Hmm?
It's
Okay.
Calcutta. He decides he lives in the slums, and he actually, just like I think in where we're going in Shantaram is the same thing. It's like the littlest, the least amount of you have, the happier you are, which leads me back to the expectations, right? All these effing expectations, and they don't serve. They're not serving. And like the one guy that I listened to, this Mike Dooley, who's all about thoughts become things, notes from the universe, TUT. Anyway, he just talks about, and Abraham Hicks too, whatever makes you happy, do that.
It's the acquisition of things is not because we want the things, it's because what we think that thing will make us feel. Which it invariably does not. It may do for a short while. You get a brand new car, you get that little buzz, you feel great about yourself, but it doesn't give you any lasting, you may get pleasure out of it, but it doesn't fulfill any lasting need that you have, which is why you then go on and need another car or earn more money or whatever. It's because we're all just trying to feel better.
Yeah. Our friend Kellyanne, who passed away earlier this year, when it came to Lucas and these things that would happen with my family and other people who didn't understand just let him be with us. It's what they do. She, when we first moved into this house, she was like, this is also for you to say what you need from what you need, not from anybody, but what you need. And if you feel like for your own happiness and centering, you need him near you, or you enjoy his company, it makes you happy, then that's what you say. That's what you say. And you, for lack of a better word, defend that and let the rest.
If I were you, Julie, and my sister said I could not go in for the reasons that I would just be like, well, I'm not ever coming, ever. Yeah, I don't care that you change your rules, because how am I welcome here?
That's where we are right now. Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Are we at time, Julie? I'm just conscious. I have absolutely no idea when we started.
Yeah, no, we're probably at time. We've gone expectations all the way around as we typically do.
But it's the root of all, what's the word, dissatisfaction is expectation, because the only reason you're ever disappointed is because you were expecting something different.
Right.
Even if you were okay to go, I don't know what's going to happen, I'm going to be happy, whatever happens, you'd be happy.
Yeah. Even in Law of Attraction, with Mike Dooley in particular, when you ask for something, when you ask the universe for something, you don't say, I need this cup. You don't say like the specifics. That's what he calls the dreaded house. I need a cup or better, and opens it up, because we don't know what we want. And if you read,
well, see, Abraham Hicks would go a bit further and say, why do you need that cup?
Yeah.
And say, that's what you're looking for. So I'm looking for, you want that cup because you want to feel glamorous when you're drinking your tea. So actually you're just asking for something that makes you feel glamorous.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be the cup.
Yeah.
It could come in many forms.
Yeah. That's why, if you read Malcolm Gladwell, when he talks about focus groups and the tipping point, focus groups only get humans so far, because we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what's possible. We don't know how to express it. So like if someone were to have, like his example is testing the iPhone. If Apple had gone to people before the iPhone and said, what do you want? No one would have ever come back. I want one of these.
Yeah.
They didn't know what this existed. Like I got an update, by the way, I got updated the operating system last night, and now the time appears like super big. I'm like, well, look at that. That's pretty cool. I didn't think to ask for that. I wouldn't. I don't know. But anyway,
I thought you were going to complain about it. Guy actually sent a phone back because it did an Android update, and now he can't get any notifications. He ended up just sending his phone back, which is rather extreme, but what else can you do? And now he's got another one and the same thing's happened. But anyway, yeah, expectations, large and small.
Yes, but I can see, I see why all the expectations that we put on ourselves are mind-numbing and they're exhausting, which is also where we started.
Yeah.
So just I don't know. I don't have a simple answer, but
well, I guess because Abraham Hicks would say, if you can focus on your positive expectations, you are then actually unfolding something wonderful. But there's a difference between, when she talks about positive expectations, she's not saying, that's different from what we're talking about in expectations, and it's subtle, and that's probably too much to explain. Just, positive because now I'm thinking, oh, well, wanting a big car, that's a positive expectation, but it's not. It's an expectation without the thing behind it. I'm not explaining this, but do you know what I mean? It's like, if you've got a positive expectation for having a flash car and then you don't get a flash car, you're going to be disappointed. Whereas Abraham Hicks's positive expectation is less about it's using expectation in a different context. It's more like, dream about your car, enjoy being in your imaginary car, that level of expectation, as opposed to what we're talking about, which is some sort of rigid this is what my friend Kathy says, which comes from the body to whatever, the fixed code, I think it's called. It's like, are you making pictures in your mind about how things will go wrong? And this is exactly like that. It's like our expectations are pictures in our minds of how things should be, and anything that falls short of that is wrong, bad, whatever. I'm muddling it up. Maybe we'll cut this bit out.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's so kind.
So yeah, it's just, I'm just going to be mindful, I think, of, as I go into this holiday season, of, I was going to say joy and happiness, but that's even an expectation in and of itself, which I think is why the holidays for me in particular are so hard, because it's just like, ugh, like we're not like that all year long. So why do I have to be like that, like right now? Like, why? It has to all get compressed. Yeah.
The fucking recipe for disaster.
Totally. So
food, too much alcohol, meeting people that you normally don't spend that much time with, all this expectation it should be really good fun and everybody's happy. That's just setting yourself up for catastrophic failure, in my view. I don't go there at all.
Yeah,
I refuse. And I was thinking that, and I've actually even got more rigid. I actually just wrote about that, and like that I it's like I'm not even trying, because I always end up trying to accommodate people, and it's like, I'm not going to do it. Can't do it. Can't please everybody. Always ends up in a mess, because somebody gets disappointed.
Exactly. Just
don't want to. If you want to come for a meal, come for a meal. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It's just another day.
Yeah, whatever makes me happy is what I'm going to do. So today I'm going to go take the dog for a walk, and then I'm going to go make a pie, because I like meat.
Yay!
And that's it. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, I think we're good.
Me. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us, watching us, watching, I suppose both. We should do this as a podcast. Like, you can't listen to stuff without the picture, can you? Maybe you can. Anyway, that's for another day. Sorry. Thank you for joining us. If you have any comments, suggestions for other subjects, or comments on this subject, or anything else you want us to talk about, you can put it in the comments below. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube, please, because we're trying to still get to, I can't remember, a lot more people, because this is how people find us. So we get lots of feedback. It doesn't necessarily find its way to the comments, but be really grateful if you could. And if you've enjoyed this or any of our episodes, please do share them. You can also follow us on Facebook and share us on Facebook and Instagram. I think that covers everything. I am Kate Bogo, and with me is Julie Hurd, and together we are trying to make light to humans being.